The marketplace on Erendor was alive with color, sound, and movement. Stalls lined the broad streets, each one displaying strange alien goods, glowing crystals that hummed softly, fabrics that changed color as they caught the light, and metallic gadgets whose purpose was known only to their makers. Ships from every corner of the galaxy hovered above, unloading cargo and passengers, filling the air with the low roar of engines and the chatter of countless languages. Among the crowd walked Lyria, an alien of her people known for their pale silver skin and tall, graceful forms. She moved with elegance, her long fingers brushing the silk folds of her robe. Her violet eyes, wide and expressive, scanned the crowds nervously. She carried a secret, a burden she had hidden her entire life. Her people forbade unions with outsiders. Marriage, children, love, these were bound by strict rules, and she had been warned repeatedly that breaking them would bring dishonor, exile, and shame. Yet Lyria could not ignore her own heart. She was capable of bearing children, a rare gift among her kind. She wondered, often in the quiet of her chambers, what it would be like to share her life with someone who was not one of her own. But the thought was dangerous, almost forbidden, and the council's rules were clear. She paused near a stall selling shimmering orbs that reflected the busy crowd like small planets. Her attention was caught by a human observing her. Marcus Kane, a name she had heard whispered in awe in many sectors, stood there, tall, broad-shouldered, with a calm confidence that seemed to command the space around him. His uniform bore the insignia of countless campaigns. War medals gleamed faintly under the market's light, symbols of courage, strategy, and resilience. He smiled politely at a vendor, exchanging words in a language that was alien to her, yet his tone carried warmth and respect. Lyria's curiosity stirred. Humans were known for their unpredictability, their reckless courage, and their refusal to bow to tradition. But she had not expected to meet one who carried himself with such quiet strength. Her hesitation faded. Something inside her urged her forward. She approached him, careful to maintain the proper distance, as custom demanded when addressing strangers, especially those of a different species. Do you have a moment?" she asked, her voice soft but clear. Her accent made the words sound musical, almost like a gentle song. Marcus turned to her, his piercing blue eyes meeting her violet ones. There was no judgment there, only attentive curiosity. "Of course," he said in fluent basic. "What can I do for you?" Lyria hesitated. She had practiced this moment many times, yet now that it was here, words seemed to falter. Finally, she spoke, choosing them carefully. I am Lyria of the Varathian Council. My people, they have strict rules about unions, marriages, children." She stopped, unsure how much to reveal. Marcus tilted his head slightly, listening. He did not interrupt, did not laugh. He simply waited, a silent gesture that encouraged her to continue. "I am capable of having children," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "But my people, they will not allow me to marry outside our race. I am alone in this matter. I do not know if anyone can understand." Marcus regarded her for a long moment, his expression thoughtful. Then quietly he said, "I may not fully understand what your people have told you, Lyria, but I do understand being burdened by rules that seem unfair, and I understand wanting more from life than what tradition demands." Lyria blinked, surprised. His words were simple, yet they carried weight. She had expected pity, judgment, or dismissal, not understanding perhaps, but never such calm acknowledgement. They walked together slowly, weaving through the crowd. Marcus asked questions, not intrusive ones but curious, about her life, her people, her world. Lyria found herself answering honestly, her fears easing with each step. There was something about humans that fascinated her. Their courage to face danger, their honesty, their ability to stand alone yet work with others when needed. As they walked, a sudden commotion drew their attention. A group of traders from a neighboring system had begun arguing, their voices rising, gestures sharp. One of them pulled a small energy weapon, threatening another trader. The crowd gasped and scattered, fear spreading quickly. Without hesitation, Marcus stepped forward. "Stop," he commanded, his voice carrying authority. The traders froze, startled by the sudden, calm intervention. "We can resolve this without violence," he said, moving closer, hands raised in a non-threatening gesture. Lyria watched, amazed. She had seen many species resort to intimidation or force in such situations, but humans, at least this human, seemed to possess a balance of courage and restraint she had not expected. Slowly, the traders lowered their weapons, muttering under their breath. Marcus guided them apart, ensuring no one was harmed, before turning back to Lyria with a small, reassuring smile. "You humans are bold," Lyria said, half in admiration, half in disbelief. "We try," Marcus replied lightly. "Boldness is sometimes necessary." They continued their walk, the marketplace returning to its usual rhythm. Lyria felt a strange mixture of relief and curiosity. She had come to seek understanding, perhaps guidance. Instead, she had found someone who made her question everything she had accepted as truth. They paused near a quiet fountain at the center of the square. Water shimmered under artificial sunlight, casting reflections that danced across the faces of the two unlikely companions. Lyria glanced at Marcus, hesitant. I have never met a human like you. You listen. You do not judge immediately." Marcus shrugged, a small smile tugging at his lips. "We humans make a lot of mistakes," he said, "but we try to understand each other. That is how we survive and grow stronger." Lyria felt a spark of hope. Perhaps, she thought, there was a way to bridge the gap between her people and others, a way to honor her own abilities while embracing the possibilities that lay beyond her world's rules. Just as she was about to speak, a sharp alarm echoed across the marketplace. Holographic screens flickered to life, broadcasting a warning in multiple languages. A hostile fleet had been detected near the outskirts of the system. Their intentions were unknown, but their firepower could destroy entire colonies if not stopped. Marcus's expression hardened. "It seems we won't have long to talk," he said. "There is work to be done." Lyria's heart pounded. She had never faced war outside her home planet, but standing next to Marcus, she felt a courage she did not know she possessed. Perhaps this human could teach her more than words ever could. As they prepared to leave for the command center, Lyria allowed herself a brief, private thought. Maybe the future was not set by tradition, not by rules, not even by fear. Perhaps the future was something she could help shape, with courage, wisdom, and an unexpected ally by her side. And with that, the two of them vanished into the crowd, heading toward a destiny neither fully understood yet. The starport was a whirlwind of activity. Ships of all sizes and shapes moved like schools of glowing fish, docking and departing, unloading cargo and passengers from across the galaxy. The sound of engines, the chatter of merchants, and the occasional clang of metal on metal created a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Lyria and Marcus Kane entered the main operations hall, their footsteps echoing softly on the polished floor. The hall was filled with holographic screens displaying star charts, tactical information, and communications from neighboring systems. Humans, aliens, and hybrid crews moved purposefully, each performing their duties with practiced efficiency. Marcus approached a large screen projecting a 3D map of the nearby star systems. "We don't have much time," he said, voice firm yet calm. "The fleet detected near Urandor is moving fast. Their scans suggest they have hostile intentions. If they reach the colonies, countless lives will be at risk." Lyria studied the map, her fingers brushing over the holographic controls. "Their numbers, they are greater than I expected," she said quietly. "And their technology, it is advanced, far beyond most systems we have faced." Marcus nodded. "Yes, but we humans have something they underestimate: adaptability." Courage isn't just about weapons, it's about thinking fast, acting together, and never giving up. Lyria glanced at him. The words were simple, yet carried the weight of experience. She had seen humans in stories, reckless, loud, bold, but Marcus showed something different. Calm courage, focused action, a willingness to protect others at any cost. Their first task was clear: intercept a scouting squad from the hostile fleet before they could relay the coordinates of the colonies. Marcus led Lyria to a small but well-equipped strike ship, its hull scratched and worn from previous missions but still strong and reliable. "You'll need to follow my lead," Marcus said as they prepared for departure. "Trust me. Humans make mistakes, but we also have a way of turning mistakes into advantage." Lyria nodded, her heart pounding with both fear and excitement. She had never flown a ship like this, much less faced a real battle. But standing beside Marcus, she felt a confidence she had not known before. Perhaps humans truly were capable of surprising courage. The engines roared to life, lifting them into the dark expanse of space. Stars streaked past like silver rivers as the ship accelerated, weaving through asteroid belts and debris fields with skillful precision. "Do you always fly this fast?" Lyria asked, gripping the edge of her seat. Marcus smiled briefly. "Only when the mission requires it. Speed can save lives or cost them. Timing is everything." They approached the scouting fleet, a formation of sleek ships glinting under distant starlight. Lyria watched in awe as Marcus calculated angles, trajectories, and escape routes. "We'll need to disable their communication array first," he explained. "Without it, the colonies remain safe for now." As they closed in, the enemy noticed their approach. Warning lights flashed across the strike ship's dashboard. A pulse of energy surged toward them, a test, a warning, a challenge. Marcus's hands moved with practiced ease, diverting shields and adjusting speed to avoid the attack. "Hold steady," he said calmly. "Focus. We're not here to destroy them, just to disrupt." Lyria followed his instructions, her fingers trembling slightly as she manipulated the ship's controls. A pulse cannon fired from the side, hitting the enemy's communication array and knocking it offline. The fleet scrambled, momentarily confused, buying precious time for the colonies. "Good work," Marcus said, glancing at her. "You handled that well." Lyria's eyes widened. "I did," she whispered, surprised. She had been afraid, unsure, yet somehow she had managed to act correctly under pressure. Marcus's confidence in her gave her courage she had never known. The battle was not over. As they retreated from the disrupted fleet, the enemy regrouped, sending a squadron after them. The chase led them through an asteroid field, massive rocks spinning in silent dance. Marcus piloted the ship with uncanny precision, weaving between asteroids, dodging energy blasts, and using the terrain to their advantage. "This is insane," Lyria said, gripping her seat. "How can you see all of this and not panic?" Marcus glanced at her, a small grin on his face. "Humans survive by thinking fast. Fear is natural, but it cannot control you. Trust your instincts, they are sharper than you think." Through teamwork and careful strategy, they managed to escape the pursuing ships. Once clear, they docked at a hidden base on a moon orbiting a gas giant. The base was simple, almost austere, but equipped with communication systems to alert the colonies of future danger. Inside the command room, Lyria took a deep breath, her hands still shaking slightly. "I never imagined humans could face such danger without losing themselves," she said. "Your courage, it is different from anything I have seen." Marcus studied her quietly. "Courage comes in many forms," he said. "Some fight with weapons, some with words, some with choices. You have courage too, Lyria. You stepped into danger knowing so little, and you did not freeze. That is bravery." Lyria felt a warmth in her chest. Praise from a human warrior, someone she had respected from afar, was more powerful than any words from her own people. Perhaps there was a different way to live, a different way to face rules and fear. Days passed as they worked together, planning defenses, gathering intelligence and coordinating with other allied forces. The bond between them grew, subtle but undeniable. Marcus respected Lyria's insights, her intelligence, and her ability to remain calm under pressure. Lyria began to see humans not as reckless outsiders but as partners, capable of understanding, empathy, and ingenuity. One evening, as they reviewed star charts, a warning message flashed across the main console. The enemy fleet had detected a weakly defended colony. Immediate action was required. Marcus turned to Lyria. "We leave at once," he said. "This is your chance to prove what you are capable of together." The mission was dangerous. They had limited information, few allies nearby, and the enemy's ships were superior in number. But Lyria felt a determination she had never known. Standing beside Marcus, she realized that fear could be harnessed into action. The journey to the colony was tense. Lyria monitored communications while Marcus navigated through treacherous space. They coordinated strikes against enemy ships, using clever maneuvers rather than brute force. Lyria suggested strategies based on her people's advanced sensor technology, and Marcus adapted them to the human style of flexible, rapid response. "Your ideas, they work better than I expected," Marcus said with genuine respect. "You are not just brave, you are smart. That combination is rare." For the first time, Lyria allowed herself a small smile. Recognition, respect, and partnership, a feeling she had never believed possible outside her people's rules. The battle reached its climax as the enemy flagship attempted a direct assault on the colony's main defenses. Marcus piloted their ship into the heart of the fight, weaving between laser fire, energy shields, and exploding debris. Lyria coordinated with distant defense turrets, guiding their fire with precision. At a critical moment, a massive energy beam from the flagship threatened to destroy them. Marcus calculated the trajectory and shouted instructions. Lyria followed instantly, manipulating her controls to redirect the beam's energy harmlessly into space. The colony was safe. When the dust settled, the fleet retreated. Marcus and Lyria emerged victorious, though exhausted. The colony hailed them as heroes, their cooperation celebrated as an example of interspecies teamwork. Later, in the quiet of the moon base, Lyria turned to Marcus. "I never thought I would feel this way. I have seen humans in battle in stories, but you are different. You inspire courage not just in yourself but in others." Marcus looked at her, his expression unreadable for a moment. Then he spoke softly, "Courage is contagious. Humans survive because we inspire it in each other and in those we trust. You trusted me, Lyria. That is the first step toward changing your own story." Lyria felt a flutter in her chest. Trust, understanding, respect. Could these things exist beyond her people's rules? Could they exist between her and a human? As they stood together, looking at the distant stars, a new understanding began to form. Humans were more than their legends, more than their recklessness. They were capable of loyalty, strategy, and moral courage that could inspire even the most disciplined of alien races. And Lyria realized that, for the first time, she was not afraid to question the rules that had bound her. Perhaps the future held possibilities she had never imagined, possibilities she could explore with Marcus by her side. The stars beyond the window seemed to shimmer with promise, and Lyria felt something new, hope. The council chamber on Lyria's home planet was immense, filled with tall, elegant beings whose silver skin gleamed under the soft light of hovering lamps. The Varathian Council, the governing body of her people, had summoned her. Whispers of unrest had spread after news of her joint mission with a human reached the planet. Lyria stood at the chamber entrance, her posture straight, her expression calm despite the storm of anxiety inside. She knew this moment would decide not only her future, but possibly the future of interspecies relations for generations. "Lyria of the Varathian Council," the head elder said, voice resonating across the chamber. "It has come to our attention that you acted outside the council's rules. You cooperated with a human, a species forbidden for unions with our kind. Explain yourself." Taking a deep breath, Lyria stepped forward. "Elder, respected members of the council, I chose to act with Marcus Kane because the colonies were in danger. He did not act recklessly. He showed courage, strategy, and respect. His actions saved countless lives." A murmur spread through the chamber. Some council members leaned forward, intrigued. Others shook their heads in disbelief. "Your concern for lives is noted," another elder said coldly. "But the rules exist to preserve the purity and honor of our people. You have broken that trust." Lyria met their gaze steadily. "Perhaps the rules have preserved tradition, but at what cost? Fear of outsiders has kept us isolated. Courage and intelligence do not belong to one species alone. Humans have proven themselves capable of honor, loyalty, and wisdom." There was a pause, heavy with tension. The council had not heard such words spoken with such clarity and conviction. At that moment, Marcus stepped forward from behind Lyria, having been invited as an observer. His presence alone caused a stir, a human standing in the council chamber, unafraid and composed. "Honored elders," he began, voice firm but respectful, "I do not seek to undermine your traditions, but rules must serve people, not the other way around. Lyria and I acted together to save lives. In doing so, we discovered that cooperation between our species is not only possible, it can lead to progress, understanding, and strength." The elders whispered among themselves. Marcus continued, "I propose a solution that honors your traditions while acknowledging the realities of the galaxy. A cultural and legal alliance can allow individuals to work together, form bonds, and even raise children in ways that respect both species. It is not betrayal, it is evolution." Lyria's heart raced. This was more than she had dared hope. Marcus's proposal respected her people, offered compromise, and opened the door for change without dishonor. One elder stepped forward, skepticism clear in their posture. "And what of love? Emotion is unpredictable. Can humans be trusted not to bring chaos to our carefully structured society?" Marcus met the question without hesitation. "Love is not chaos. It is a source of strength. It teaches patience, courage, and understanding. Humans, and perhaps others, can inspire growth. We do not seek to replace tradition but to expand its possibilities." Silence followed. The chamber seemed suspended in a fragile moment, as if the very air waited for a verdict. Lyria felt her pulse in her throat, hope and fear warring within her. Finally, the head elder spoke, voice steady but softer than before. Perhaps there is merit in this vision. If executed with care and respect, it could allow our people to survive, not only in strength but in wisdom." A collective breath seemed to release from the council. Murmurs turned to nods, some reluctant, some curious. Change was difficult, but the elders began to see the potential. Lyria turned to Marcus, gratitude shining in her eyes. I never imagined you would come up with a solution that respects my people while giving me a choice." Marcus smiled, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We humans are stubborn when it comes to helping others," he said lightly. "But mostly, we believe that courage and honesty are worth the risk." With the council's approval, Lyria formally announced her decision. She would work with Marcus and humans to build a new alliance. Some members of her race still hesitated, clinging to old fears, but many were intrigued by the opportunity to grow stronger through cooperation. News of their decision spread quickly across the planets. Humans and Varathians began to collaborate on exploration, defense, and cultural exchanges. Lyria and Marcus became symbols of progress, proof that courage, respect, and open-mindedness could overcome fear and prejudice. In the quiet of the evening, Lyria and Marcus stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. Ships from different systems glided silently past, carrying people, goods, and hope across the galaxy. "You changed everything," Lyria said softly. "Not just for me, for my people, and maybe for others too." Marcus shook his head with a small grin. We did it together. Humans alone couldn't have done it, but humans and Varathians, that's a combination even the stars might admire. Lyria laughed lightly, a sound that felt free and unburdened. She had feared rules, fear, and prejudice. Yet here she was, standing at the beginning of something new, guided by courage, respect, and an unexpected friendship that had grown into something deeper. The stars beyond stretched endlessly, a reminder of the infinite possibilities of the universe. And for the first time in her life, Lyria felt truly free, not bound by rules but guided by courage, wisdom, and a future she could shape for herself and those who came after. Together they watched the galaxy, ready to face whatever challenges awaited, not as separate species, but as allies, partners, and pioneers of a new era.